This is Rockslapping Champions. Player 1, playing Nova. We have Syntharius. And player 2, playing Vorazun. We have Chizwiz. So let us have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. This is Rockslapping Champions episode number 69, and Nova over here is level 69. And we can see that they have 30 points of the airstrike cost reduction, 30 points of the primary ability improvement, and 25 and 5 split Nova energy regeneration, unit energy regeneration mastery as well. So that's pretty much the optimal splits here. For Vorazun has gone for the Dark Pylon range, the Shadow Guard duration, and the Chrono Boost mastery here. First Pylon has come down this, I believe. So Vorazun actually used their Dark Pylon to... Okay, they did that right now. Fine. And we now have a gateway as well coming down for Vorazun. So the Dark Pylon range is not very useful unless you were trying to do some particular cheeses on certain missions. The Chrono Boost mastery as well, usually you'd want to go for the Spear of Adun mastery, and then combine that with the Shadow Guard duration, get a lot of good value for your Shadow Guard. So that is the new mastery recommendations for Vorazun. It's maxing out on the Spear of Adun energy and the Shadow Guard duration. And obviously the Black Hole duration is very important here. It allows Vorazun to disable units for a lot longer. It makes it a little bit easier for her to clear the especially armored units that belong to Amon. So in the production, what do we have here? We have 3 gateways coming down for Vorazun, which is again very creative strategy, and we have a Centurion coming out now. I think the Centurion is going to be used to deal with the first attack wave. It doesn't really matter though, because Vorazun does have Shadow Guard available, and one of the wonderful things about Shadow Guard is you can actually use it to deal with the first attack wave on this mission. The only attack wave that I think Shadow Guard cannot deal with is the first attack wave on Rifts to Core Hall. But since this is not Rifts to Core Hall, this is going to be a problem, and I think that Dark Pylon is going to start getting focus fired down by these Reapers. These Reapers do so much damage, and I think that Dark Pylon, that Dark Pylon just ends up surviving at 10 HP. Few more of these Reapers over here, and now these Centurions run out of the way, out of the cloak, and they end up getting killed off by those 3 Reapers over there. You can see the amount of damage there from these Reapers, and we have a Railgun turret as well from Nova. And that Railgun turret is going to be more than enough to deal with the initial Reapers. Nova is actually turtled up really well here, keeping these Railgun turrets all safe behind her production structures. And now Nova is going to start clearing out her expansion rocks by rock slapping herself. What is Nova doing? What is Nova doing? I guess that's one way to clear the rocks, especially if you're not going for... What is the enemy composition? Shadow attack. It's interesting. Nova might be doing this intentionally just to trigger me, but Nova is using the stance upgrade here, and now finally we have a bunch of Marines now. They get dropped, and Nova is going to go and intercept this next attack wave. And the next attack wave she will intercept. There's going to be another bunch of Reapers here, and these Reapers are pretty much all going to get one shot with one-shot gun blast over here. Blink up onto this high ground and transition over to the cloak mode, and instantly she ends up sniping that Marauder, and now she is basically going to start murdering everything on this map. And Vorazun, on the other hand, is doing stuff. They're building one Stargate, they're building a Dark Shrine, they're building a Probe, and they are getting their level 1 attack upgrades and using their Centurions to rock slap and clear these rocks over here. And what is this upgrade? Dark Oil. It shows you how much I use. It shows you how much I use these Centurions. It's like I don't even know what their upgrades look like. Okay, so this is the cloak one? No, this is the... Okay, this is the one with the... This is the stun upgrade, okay. It just goes to show you like how useful these units are. Like, I never use them, and I don't think there's any reason to use them. Nova's just going off and just sniping pretty much everything that she has available here. And now we have a bunch of Centurions that are ready to try and deal with the shuttle. Now, there is a minor flaw in this plan, and that is the fact that the Centurions do not have a very high anti-air attack damage. Their anti-air attack damage is exactly 0. So they might have a little bit of problem staking out these shuttles that are on the way, so we'll see how Vorazun chooses to address that anti-air weakness that she has. And she's actually building an Oracle, which also happens to have an anti-air attack of 0, but we have one Corsair that is added to the mix right now, and I think there's an air attack upgrade that will be coming up in just in time, and this one Corsair is going to be attacking a little bit onto these shuttles, but most of this damage being dealt by Nova and her snipe. Nova blinks forward now and takes out the Reapers that are there, and now all that is left are a bunch of hybrid Reapers, and they use their raw ability over here. Are they going to end up killing any more of these Centurions? No, they are not going to be ending up killing any more of those Centurions. I think the Centurions actually do end up all surviving. And Nova's just going to go and start murdering everything over here. Vorazun is basically still looking at their expansion, so the Nexus just comes down at the 8-minute and 15-second mark, and this is usually why you want to use your Shadow Guard. You can actually clear your expansion with a Shadow Guard and deal with the first attack wave on this mission, and you're basically good to go. But Vorazun has other plans right now. What is she producing? She's getting the charge upgrade. This is the one that actually gets them cloak, right? I think there's an upgrade that makes them cloak. I can't remember which upgrade it is, but she's getting the charge upgrade, Nexus on the way, one more gateway, 2 more Centurions, and now she's getting the shield upgrades for her Centurions. So yeah, shield upgrades not very useful in general, especially for Vorazun. Vorazun doesn't really benefit much from the shield upgrades. You could probably use them for your Dark Templars, or if you're going for Dark Archons, you get a little bit more value, but shield upgrades usually should not be prioritized. And I've gone into great detail on as to why that is the case on one of the other videos on this channel. I think it's called General Tip Armor Upgrades or something like that. So what else do we have? We have the level 2 attack upgrades coming up for the Corsairs. This is actually very useful. Corsairs have a very high attack speed but very low attack damage. So their attack, the air attack upgrades, gets a lot of value now. These Centurions are going to be jumping in here. And do end up stunning some of these Reapers, but now there are another bunch of Reapers as well over here. Second Black Hole comes down, but remember that there is a duration. There is no duration mastery onto this Black Hole. I'm going to switch over to Vorazun's view just for a second here, and that will prevent the other stuff. It'll prevent the minimap from disappearing. But yeah, all those Centurions end up getting wiped here because that Black Hole duration mastery has not been selected. So the Black Hole lasts a very, very short amount of time, and all that happens is just the Reapers get very upset with these Centurions, and everything ends up dying. So far, Vorazun has actually lost one Corsair as well, I think from the Liberators that came up in the attack wave, as well as 9 Centurions. And now Vorazun is basically being reset back onto the back foot here, and she has basically, yeah, three Centurions, 3 Corsairs, and 2 Dark Templars that are somewhere along the lines here. Are they hiding like somewhere in this deck? Okay, those are the Dark Templars that are there, and these Liberators will end up getting sniped as well by Nova. And Vorazun needs to try and get some more air units out, because this is the Shadow Tech composition. And they're going to be Battlecruisers and Reapers and, well, Liberators into this mix, and they're all armored units. And these Corsairs don't really get a lot of damage output from their weapon. You can see here they deal bonus damage versus light, not versus armored, so you do need to get these upgrades. The other thing that's also really useful that is not being researched right now is the cloak upgrade for these Corsairs. That cloak upgrade actually increases their damage output as part of Vorazun's passive, so nothing being produced here. We have Shadow Fury, really good upgrade here, and we have a second Stargate coming out for Vorazun. Not before Vorazun wants to add another gateway. How many gateways does Vorazun have right now? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gateways? A little bit much, and 2 Stargates here, and Vorazun doesn't really have much of an army. She has all the production, but she does not have the army that she needs to be able to handle this next shuttle wave. And this is going to be slightly more difficult as well. The escorts are starting to grow, but Nova already ready, and she's going to be sending a sabotage drone in there with a very, very high likelihood of a Griffin airstrike just to start weakening this enemy base just before she starts to push in, I think. That is the plan. Oh no, there's no airstrike there. I think she might be waiting then for the... Yeah, okay, she's going to airstrike this shuttle wave here. She'll be able to pretty much a very nice airstrike there. Is going to basically one-shot the rest of these shells with a bunch of snipes. And Vorazun now warping in a few more Dark Templars, and now Vorazun's army is ready. What is she going to do? She looks like she wants to try and pounce on Amon's base here. And is she going to do that? Oh, she's moving into position, moving out of the cloak, and all those units now are very, very vulnerable to dying because she does not have access to the emergency recall upgrade. The Vorazun wants to try and deal with this escort wave, and there's going to be a very nice airstrike over here that will end up saving Vorazun's army, and the rest of these hybrids get deleted by the Dark Templar Shadow Fury. And now, where is Vorazun going to go? She does have time stop available, so that is something that might be of interest to Vorazun to use. Now, time stop has different effects depending on the mission, and I think on this mission it actually delays the shuttle spawns and makes the mission longer. And if you want to have a look, like, I think that's what happens, so it might be something to have a look at if you are trying to clear this mission as quickly as possible. And now, Vorazun uses the time stop. She has a bunch of Dark Templars, and she has a bunch of Centurions, and she has a bunch of uncloaked Corsairs. So, this is all really good. She does warp in a Dark Pylon here to help these Corsairs get a little bit more damage out, but as soon as that time stop fades away... Is that a mule? That is a mule from Amon. I did not even know Amon used mules. But the one thing that's going to happen is as soon as this time stop fades away, what's going to happen is that these enemy units are going to start attacking these Corsairs, and these Corsairs are very, very squishy, and they do not have cloak, which means that they do not have the emergency recall upgrade or the passive for Vorazun, which means if they are clumped up just like this, there is going to be a lot of casualties, and that Thor is going to be more than happy to deal with that. These Corsairs use Disruption Web, keeping this Thor behind, but there's another Battlecruiser over here as well, and another one joins into the mix with another Thor on the back line, and there are a lot of Centurions getting focus fired down by that Thor. Thor finally goes down. There is a Yamato cannon as well onto one of these Centurions, I think. And finally, after all the dust has settled, there are a total loss of 18 Centurions, 10 Corsairs, and 2 Oracles. And now Vorazun does not actually have any anti-air to deal with the shuttle wave. You can see the amount of damage that these Corsairs deal. Not a lot, and this Corsair as well is going to be taking a lot of damage from these Vikings, and these Vikings do end up shooting down one more of these things before it... Oh, she's going to end up retreating right now to try and intercept these shuttles. I think one more might also end up getting picked up. Oh, no, just saved in the nick of time. And now Nova is going to use an airstrike to clean up a good chunk of the HP. And I think these Corsairs might be able to deal with this one. Now there is a small problem, and that is this little red dot that is moving towards Vorazun's base. And there is a Hybrid Dominator, and there is a Warpin and a Black Hole to try and stall this attack wave, but that one Centurion jumps right at the Hybrid Dominator and realizes why the Hybrid Dominator is called a Hybrid Dominator, because that Centurion just got 100% dominated by that Hybrid. And now Nova uses a Griffin or a tactical airlift to get back into position and deal with the rest of this attack wave. And again, Vorazun using the Cloak of the Dark Pylon, but not using the Cloak upgrade from the Fleet Beacon. Yeah, that upgrade has not been researched, and that is going to be very, very problematic for Vorazun. And again, she's going for the shield upgrades, I think. Yeah, shield upgrades. That's the level 2 shield upgrade on the way. And level 2 shield upgrade, take a look at the shields on the Corsairs, 60, 120 HP. So there's a lot more value if you get the armor upgrades if you do want to keep these units a little bit more tanky. Now, Vorazun does have a reasonably sized chunk of units here, but again, she will have to be a little bit careful because this is the triple shuttle wave, which means that there is going to be an attack wave that'll be coming up as soon as these shuttles cross this threshold here. And if she's not careful, she might end up getting completely wiped with her army of 2 Stalkers as well being added to the mix here. And this is the attack wave that has spawned, and we have a time stop. Okay, that is an emergency time stop, and I think this might be enough to deal with the rest of these units, especially with Nova also in position. Nova might actually be casting some airstrikes. And yeah, actually these Dark Templars are able to handle this Hybrid Dominator very, very effectively. So that time stop is very effective there. And you can see one of the things that usually happens is if the attack wave does not completely spawn, the units in the attack wave do end up spreading out in random positions here. So there'll be one random Marauder, one random Marine here. I'm not really sure why that happens. Someone might be able to tell me why that glitches. But I think what happened there was that the time stop was triggered just before the attack wave had completely finished spawning, and that's why you get the little screwy positionings there of Amon's units. Nova over here using a nuke and just basically completely mopping the floor with Amon's base as normal, and now we have a bunch of Corsairs that are moving towards the third bonus objective area, only to realize that there is nothing alive there except one random missile turret and one random marine. And I think it is... yeah, these Arc Templars are going to be moving in here. Missile Turret is going to be focusing down. This Oracle picks off the Oracle as well, just before it ends up going down, just to add a little bit more salt to the wounds of Vorazun. And now we have another shuttle wave coming up, and what is Vorazun going to do here? She has put down another Dark Pylon to, for some reason here, there are a few more Marines that are just chilling over here, not really aware that there's a cloaked unit here. And now Vorazun wants to try and harass this Banshee? Nope, she doesn't want to harass the Banshee. Vorazun is very well aware that harassment is not good, and she will not harass Amon unless absolutely necessary, like that one Marine, and now she decides to jump in. And again, there are a bunch of Vikings, scary, scary Vikings, and yeah, this is why you want to get the cloak upgrade on your Corsairs. But there's going to be a harass wave that'll be coming up for the bonus objective, and there will be an attack wave coming up on the south here, and this attack wave has a lot of stuff. There are a bunch of Ravens here, Seeker missiles right onto these Corsairs, and this Hybrid Dominator is very, very upset because it cannot cast any of its abilities. And finally, now there are a few more Battlecruisers added to the mix here. Hybrid Reaver goes raw and ends up drawing a little bit more HP, dealing a lot more damage to these Corsairs, and these Corsairs are out of cloak right now, and they have 1 life and 1 life only because they have no emergency recall. So that is a lot of casualties right now for Vorazun. Vorazun has lost a total of 28 Corsairs, 5 Oracles, and 2 of these Dark Pylons, one of which was here that got picked off by the Reapers as well during the engage, and 3 of the Stalkers as well that you warped in a little bit earlier. And now what is Vorazun going to do? Vorazun needs to get ready and in position for this last attack wave that will be coming up, because this last set of shuttle waves is going to be a little bit more difficult, and there will be a bunch of Lokis as well added. So Vorazun is going to be moving her Corsairs in this direction, and she's going to realize that this heroic unit over here is really, really nasty. She does use a time stop, and time stop will help a little bit while Nova goes to engage this side, but again, she has a very, very reasonable chunk of her army in its anti-ground, not as anti-air, and these Corsairs are not going to last very long once this time stop runs out, and these hybrids are going to come out now. They do not even have their cloak upgrade. There is a Griffin airstrike from Nova to try and help out, but that Loki does not get one shot by the Griffin airstrike, and pretty much ends up wiping out the rest of Vorazun's Corsairs. And now there is just going to be a bunch of Yamato cannons onto the rest of these units here. This Oracle is getting focus fired down by one of these Vikings, and there is nothing that Vorazun can do to address this attack wave now that is coming up. Vorazun has lost pretty much all of her Corsairs. She has 3 more in line somewhere on this map. Here you go. That is pretty much the extent. She has warped in a bunch of Stalkers to try and deal with the shuttle wave, but again, these Lokis are just so nasty. And now these Oracles, or I think the Centurions are getting focus fired down by some of these Lokis here. This is actually drawing aggro away and allowing Noah to try and intercept the rest of this, but these Corsairs again getting focus fired down by these Vikings. Finally that Viking does end up going down, and that's pretty much the last shuttle wave done before there's a very, very nasty attack wave here that ends up wiping out the rest of Vorazun's army. Vorazun has managed to cling on throughout the course of this mission. All the shuttles are gone, and that is GG.